I think this movie, it was always gonna have an uphill battle coming out right after Obsession. I mean, most people are still watching Obsession a second time
Yeah.
and not even watching this movie. And not a lot of people are talking about this one either, and I think know why.
Hello and welcome to X-Rated Films. I'm Jasmine,
Jason.
and today we're talking about Passenger, the
The
horror movie that came out in Horror Movie May,
Mm-hmm.
not the Star Wars movie that came out in
No.
Horror Movie May.
The car movie.
Yes.
I wore a
So,
car shirt.
Jason, can you walk us through what this movie's about? A little plot summary, spoilers ahead.
Don't mind if I do.
Oh,
So Tyler and Maddie, hey, they just got engaged. Yay! And they're on a road trip because Tyler is a big van freak,
van life.
van life for life. And they have some complicated relationship problems on their journey to figuring out what they're going to do with their lives. Also, there's a spooky passenger ghost man following them as well.
T.
That's also part of the movie.
Literally.
Um, so what did you think about this movie?
We needed one stinker
Yeah.
in Horror Movie May so far.
Oh.
Yeah. This is like Hokum was a great movie.
Uh-huh.
Obsession was a perfect movie. So for me this is like
Yeah.
this is a lot of steps down.
Listen, I mean, I agree. It's a lot of steps down.
Plus Backrooms next week, dude.
I mean, Backrooms. I hope that Backrooms is good. My thing with this movie, like you just said, we had Hokum, we had Obsession. You can't really go further than that in this horror movie month. Where was I going with that? And then there's Passenger.
Yeah.
No, I think this movie, it was always gonna have an uphill battle coming out right after Obsession. I mean, most people are still watching Obsession a second time
Yeah.
and not even watching this movie. And not a lot of people are talking about this one either. And I think I know why, but I'll get into that in a little bit. I think as of right now, like my opinion is like I think I like this movie more than people are gonna like it, and it's because I just appreciated that this was kind of a throwback to some 80s horror movies with a combination with like a 2000s, mid 2000s horror style. And I'm not going to excuse the fact that it's a callback for the issues that I have with the movie because I definitely have issues with the movie. But I just think overall, I had some fun with this movie and I left pretty satisfied.
I mean, for me it was on a double feature with Mando, so it was going to be better than Mando. At least
I mean,
it was that.
I refuse to even watch Mando, so
Fair enough.
instead I just finished watching the whole first Star Wars trilogy.
There we go. So I think you're saying you liked it more than most people, and I probably liked it about the same as most people, which is not very much.
Yeah, it's about I right before we started filming, I looked at the Rotten Tomato score because I didn't know what anyone really thought of this movie, and it's split right down the middle right now at a 50% as of recording.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that makes sense because like I have no trouble. Like unfortunately this might be boring because I don't think I'm gonna argue too much with your issues because they're pretty blatant. It's not like you have to really like look for what the flaws are in this movie. To me, it's just a matter of can you have fun with this? Are you okay with generic? And I have a question for you specifically.
Yeah.
This movie was what obviously made me think of this. Can a good movie be forgettable? Is it allowed to be forgettable?
I'll give you this. A good movie can be one that I don't think about much. A great movie cannot be forgettable. So where this lands for me, I wouldn't necessarily call it good. I would say it's almost good. Definitely forgettable though.
Yeah.
There's nothing there for you to really sink your teeth into.
Mm-hmm.
At least for me. I know you said there's like some romance stuff, but I'll get into that part. My view of that later.
Okay. So we might have one big disagreement. But yeah, no, I think when we get to our movie matchmaker, I'll have a much better argument on why good movies can sometimes be forgettable. But I would say overall, though, I think there are key things in movies that, whether good or bad, that makes it memorable. I just rewatched The Fanatic with John Travolta, and the perfect example of a movie that is bad but extremely memorable, and then a good movie with extremely memorable. The similarities are usually characters, and in this kind of movie, it's who's your horror villain. And I will say, just kind of just diving right into the opinion now and specifics, my least favorite thing about this movie is the horror villain. The villain in this movie, the passenger, I think is honestly the most generic possible horror movie villain you can mock up.
Mhm.
Endless powers that are only inconvenienced when the characters are in danger. um, a look that just looks like a Halloween store costume, nothing really scary. Um, and then the kind of thing that some in horror movies bothers me a lot, which is the teasing, where it's like they set up this horror villain where when he pops up, you know that that bad stuff is going to happen, and then for the rest of the movie, there's really no bad stuff that happens. It's just a lot of "Rah!" And we talked about jump scares, specifically yours last week. You're gonna see her anatomy of a jump scare on the
Mhm.
our obsession discussion.
Mhm.
And this is the antithesis to that because there's a lot of jump scares in this movie that I think are not that are the kind of jump scares people have been complaining about for a very long time.
This was jump scare central, this movie.
Jump scare city.
It was crazy. It was I was literally like,
Yeah.
"They're not even effective at that point."
No. And there's some that got me, but it was only ever ones that set up a tense scene already. And there are some tense scenes in this for sure.
Mhm.
But yeah, for the most part, yeah, it's a lot of just okay, sound drains out and then brr. Um yeah, I'm talking a lot.
Yeah.
Let's hear some of your
Yeah.
stuff
I
before I get
mean,
into some of my good
you
stuff.
wanna talk about, like, the okay, so really, I don't hate the movie, it didn't upset me in any way, but it wasn't something that I think, like, held much substance. It felt very shallow
Mhm.
in its delivery and everything. Everything just felt very, like, run-of-the-mill, classic, B-list, and for me, horror has evolved so much past this,
Mhm.
that when something like this comes out, it's hard not to be a little bit more of a hater just because we've seen what people are capable of with, the smallest of budgets.
Right.
So it's when people say there wasn't enough time in the movie, it's only 90 minutes, or there wasn't enough money put into it. You can't argue that when Halloween exists, and the fact
The
that
original Halloween.
the original Halloween, and the fact that like TV series will have a 20-minute episode and give you a full, beautiful character arc.
Mhm.
So I don't think time is ever a thing for me when it comes to that. It's my least favorite argument. And for this, like 90 minutes, it started to drag more towards the middle than anything else
Mhm.
because once it gets to the end, the pacing speeds up a little bit. But my general issue is just that I don't see this movie as anything special.
Yeah. Well, what I wanna add to, your when you said that it kinda slows down a little bit in the second act, I think part of that reason is because they hold out the mystery for so long, and that's usually good. Hokum did that. Hokum holds out the mystery for a while. But Hokum gives you a good and same with Obsession, actually,
Mhm.
but both of those movies give you enough breadcrumbs early on to know what the mystery even is.
Yeah, or to keep you interested in figuring it out.
Right.
There's
Th
enough
this
going on without it.
This movie starts off with the trailer that we saw, the one that spooked everyone, including me, of the guy driving on the road. Here's the trailer. Um, and that's the introduction to the mystery because you don't know what you just saw. And there's a large gap in between that sequence and the next time we get anything revolving around the passenger.
Yeah.
And I think for me, that was one of my early issues because I was kind of like, I was so intrigued by the opening scene that is really unsettling, especially like it hit a specific fear of mine of driving on back roads and with no lights and getting stuck and then something popping out.
Yeah.
But it takes a long time to see it again to even know the consistency of what what the passenger is or anything or just have any idea.
Mhm.
So I think that's part of the reason I feel like it slows down the second act. I agree with you. One more bad thing I want to touch upon, and this actually will cleanly transition to the good stuff that I have,
Yeah,
unless you
we
have more bad, of course.
no.
Um, I'm I mean, the character stereotypes, like, you're gonna see them in horror movies, but when they're this blatant, you have the observant girlfriend and the ignorant boyfriend. There's a car crash. What does the boyfriend do? He gets out on the dark road where you can't see anything and goes into the car right after the dude gets sucked into the car and like, "You okay, bro?" While the girl's like, "Wait, I see 3 scratches. Maybe we shouldn't do that." And it's like, "Come on."
Yeah.
But I'm gonna take that and I'm gonna cleanly transition into what worked for me really well in this
Yeah.
movie, and that was the central characters, Maddie and Tyler. Um, they're nothing to necessarily write home about, especially individually, but what worked for me in this movie was their relationship. I did genuinely find myself caring about this couple, and part of the reason is because after that scene they actually flip a stereotype that I actually appreciated, which was that she thinks she saw something in the camera when she reviews the footage of the car crash. She thinks she sees a face in the passenger seat, and then when Tyler reviews it, there's nothing there. Typical. We've seen this a million times. But what I really appreciated and where the movie took a turn for me was when instead of an argument ensuing and him being like, there was nothing there, he said, I believe you. And they started to immediately work together to solve this. And I honestly, like, that's what flipped the movie for me. Because then from then to the rest of the movie, I was like, hold on, I actually want these two to succeed.
So, yes and no for me
It
because I know you're
wasn't a
talking.
question.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, for, like, the relationships and all of that, like, I get what you're saying, where, like, that is a good flip they did, I appreciated that. But I do find the relationship themes confusing in this movie, and that's because there's a setup to similar to Obsession, where he seems to like this idea of her more than actually her. Or rather, maybe that's her anxiety about it.
Hmm.
She thinks he likes the idea of her more than actually her.
Yeah.
Because when he does propose, there's there's a little hesitation. And I think the only reason why they don't like she ends up saying yes is they're interrupted in the middle of it. And she's like, all right, whatever. Like, yes.
Hmm.
Like
By the
she's taking it.
neighborhood watch guy.
Yeah.
Asshole.
Silly. So that that to me was like, okay, we're kind of looking at this girl realizing like maybe she doesn't want to be with this person because for a lot of the movie it seems like he doesn't necessarily listen to her and things she wants. But that's what I'm saying is confusing because then you have a moment like that where he does champion her. And I do appreciate that. But then later on he's like not quite that guy. So it's a little confusing because I don't think it works for me that I care about them being together until the end, and I will save this for my moments, but I do think that ultimately them ending up together in the end makes sense. I think
Hmm.
she has somewhat of an emotional realization that he may actually be this person for her, but like I said, it's confusing. I don't know if she's settling because 'cause they've just trauma bonded.
No, I don't see, I saw where they were kinda going with it, in the when they were watching the movie. Because early on in the movie, like you said, there seems to be a little hesitation. Even when they're moving out of the apartment, at the very beginning of the movie, they're moving out of their Brooklyn apartment, and they're gonna head into Tyler's van, and they're gonna go on a road trip, and they're or not even a road trip, I think they're just kind of driving,
They're
like,
in
for a long time. Yeah,
van
they're
life,
in
yeah.
van life. And you can tell, like, without any dialogue, and when she's finishing cleaning up some of the boxes, she's looking at some stuff thinking, like, she's a little hesitant, but she gets a big smile when she sees Tyler outside, and you can see I feel like they set up pretty well that she's sad that she's doing this, but you can tell she's willingly, like, ready to go on this adventure because she does have love for Tyler, and I think that they do play with this in interesting ways as the movie goes along. As I said, when they're watching the movie, um, in the woods, they get into a bit of an argument, and there's kind of a relation between what her issue is with the journey that they're taking, eh, because of the passenger. The passenger represents this the wrench that's thrown in the relationship of like, okay, I'm willing to do this, but now something weird is happening and now I'm questioning everything and I think I don't want to do this anymore. And that's why the ending to me is so satisfying because they both overcome the passenger, they both overcome the wrench in the relationship, and then they both they figure it out. They figure out like, okay, I see where you're coming from, I see where you're coming from. It's smart to live in a gated community.
Totally took passenger as a metaphor. So from the beginning,
Yeah.
she's the passenger in their relationship. They even have a whole scene where he's like, I'll drive," and he only lets her drive once he's, like, falling asleep, and she literally is treated like the passenger in their relationship through all of it, so I took, like, every time the passenger showed up as it being very metaphorical for how she was feeling in their relationship, but the problem is those themes get so confusing when you actually have this entity that now they have to overcome.
Well, that's why I lean more towards what I had said because I think you're giving the movie too much credit. I honestly don't think the movie's smart enough to actually do what you're doing.
That's
I
what I'm
think
saying.
that would be a good
I
idea,
thought that's where
but
they were going, and then all of a sudden it's a big scary guy.
yeah, it's a big scary guy, and like I said, I don't really find him memorable. I actually do think in the 3rd act, they do some really cool stuff with him. There's a moment that reminds me of Halloween Kills. I I love Halloween Kills, and I thought it was really creepy the way they lit his face towards the end. He also stopped doing the stupid smile that he was doing for most of the movie where he'd pop up and be like, "Hello."
Mhm.
They stopped doing that, and he kinda just had, like, a blank face like Michael Myers towards the end.
Yeah.
Um, but anyway, yeah, I took it very face value. I think that I think that the passenger is the wrench in their journey. Everything it wasn't going very smooth, and because of the passenger, they both kinda came to a realization and a good endpoint to their relationship.
See, maybe. Except that once they defeat the passenger, she willingly puts on the wedding ring. So that's when I was like, okay, this metaphor,
Yeah,
that's the
exactly.
thing. The theme is there, but not it's not fleshed out enough. And
I
I
mean, it absolutely could be better.
yeah, I think
I
that's why I'm saying like I don't think the passenger represents what you're saying. I think the passenger represents the way she's feeling in their relationship. Not that there's a wrench thrown in it, but that she feels like she's the passenger. I mean, in the final scene, she's doing the driving.
See, I would like to believe that because then to me it would justify why I like the movie more. But I just don't think the movie's smart enough for that. I think I take a movie like this, I take completely surface value. I'm like, what do you have on the surface? That's all you're giving me. If I look a little more deep into it, I feel like I'm gonna be all like discombobulated. I would like to believe what you're saying. I really do. I think that's a good opinion, and I think that's a good way of looking at the story and giving it a little more depth than it probably has. Um, but I want to real quick talk about Andre Uvedal.
Ovidal.
Ovidal, the director of this movie. We had spoke off camera, and I had noticed I didn't realize I'd seen every one of this dude's movies, and disregarding the autopsy of Jane Doe, which I think is an amazing horror movie, and I don't have I have almost no complaints over that movie. Um, He's an interesting director because I really do appreciate his production style, especially like The Last Voyage of the Demeter. He has a really good sense of scale, and I saw that a lot in this movie, especially in the 3rd act where you really get to see the landscape and just like how big the situation is, even though it is a very small situation. Um, and I would like to see him direct something, more along the lines of, like, Pirates of the Caribbean, like, something more action, fantasy, but with his edge, because I think when he does straight up horror, again, disregarding the autopsy of Jane Doe, I think he is a little too aggressive with his horror. I think that there's a lot of noise, loud music, which I thought the score was good in this movie.
Yeah.
Um, but score is done by, I think, Christopher Young. And, everything's just a little too much in your face, for my taste, at least in his movies, and I noticed that in The Last Voyage of the Demeter, and I very much noticed it here. But his sense of sound, the car horns, the tree branches, the footsteps, the production, he has really, really cool visual, moments. The projector in the woods, when Maddie is using the projector to light up the woods to spot the passenger, and you see the film that they're watching on the branches, and it gives a really creepy look, something I've never seen before. There's a really creepy moment that's taken from Nightmare on Elm Street when the passenger sticks his face through the projector screen.
Mhm.
He has really cool moments in this movie. And so I hope that maybe at some point we get to see him do something with his edge, but not directly a horror movie.
Mhm. I get that.
Yeah.
I could see that. I think, with his style, that would definitely work.
Yeah, yeah. And then one last thing I just want to bring up. I really appreciate that they had a funny little gag going on about a seafood restaurant in
Oh, yeah.
Flagstaff because it's been an ongoing joke between me and my brother from Arizona that you do not get seafood in Arizona.
No.
Why would you do it?
Why?
Where's the seafood coming from? Where's these little fishies coming from? The desert? No.
No.
Anyway, I appreciated that. Uh,
So what would you rate this movie if that's the case?
I'm gonna go on the higher end of keep it casual. I
Okay.
I don't think this movie's great, and I do think I'll like it more than people though. I had some fun with it, and ultimately, I thought the ending was very crowd pleasing.
Mhm.
What would you rate this?
Yeah, it's a one night stand for me. That's
Ugh.
solid. I wouldn't go any higher. I
Mhm.
wouldn't go any lower just because again, like I am expecting more from horror now. Uh
That's totally fair.
and there's always some good B horror movies, that's fine. I actually listed one as my matchmaker
Mhm.
and I don't th- it felt uninspired. That's really it. Like I see that there was a couple ideas. I didn't even talk about the religious themes. I thought were unfocused as well.
Yeah, it came like more in the second half of the movie
Yeah,
anyway. Yeah.
it was just a lot of stuff on the screen and I was like, especially on following something with like the 500 million layers of obsession.
Yeah,
It
yeah, yeah.
was and maybe it's like a recency bias, but I'm I'm going to say I think it's a one night stand for me. I don't see myself revisiting it. I don't even see myself really thinking about it much. My first time I thought about it today and
Yeah.
we saw it yesterday. So,
Listen, especially after coming off of Obsession.
yeah.
I mean, and I think that's part of the reason not a lot of people are really talking about this. People are still watching Obsession.
And they should be. It's such a good
Yeah,
movie.
yeah, of course.
So, besides that, do you want to get into some moments?
Yes, and we definitely talked some spoilers, but this is full spoilers
Yes.
now.
Um, your grossest moment.
My grossest moment is in the third act of the movie when they're running over the dead
Yep.
bodies.
The squelching.
The dead bodies aren't real, but they're real to me, damn
Yeah.
it. And there's some squelching noises and some cracking
Yeah.
and some popping and
So when I'm home, I watch things with captions. So
Mhm.
like when I'm in the movie, I kind of can think of the caption that would be on, and it would say squelching for that.
Yeah.
There was some chittering in the movie, but there was a
Ugh.
lot of squelching.
Ugh.
Yeah, gross. It's
Nah,
nasty.
not
I
good.
have to agree. That was my exact same.
Okay,
Feel
alright.
like it had to be. So
Yeah,
it's gross.
it is gross.
Um,
Honorable mention when Melissa Leo's head gets
yeah,
torn off.
yeah. That's
It was a good mixture of a practical effect and some CGI, and I was like, "Hey," it was just such a dumb moment,
yeah.
though. I couldn't, like, get into it, but
What's your most emotional?
um, my most emotional was the ending.
Me too.
Oh, of course.
Oh man.
No way. The ending's great. Like I said, it's really crowd pleasing, and I think if even if you have a little bit of investment in this couple, it's really shocking that both of them make it out of this situation. And it really reminds me of spoiler for Bone Lake from last year. It really reminds me of that movie where again another movie that uses romance as part of the horror. But unlike something like Obsession where it just is just messed up, it's similar to Bone Lake where it was very crowd pleasing and you have a smile at the end, and especially there's one specific moment that honestly made me like tense up a little bit. It's when she said or Tyler said all is lost, or we lost everything because the van got destroyed, everything was in the van. And then she says not everything and pulls the ring out and for the first time in the movie puts it on. That was really
That
sweet.
was exactly the exact moment when she puts it on. I'm like, see this completes her emotional arc. She feels like she's no longer the passenger because she destroyed the passenger. That was my metaphor for
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
But I think like they do a good job with that, and I think that is sweet. And again, you don't expect both of them to make it out, so I got to give them that. That part surprised me.
Yeah,
The
it was
one thing that
nice.
surprised me.
It was a good throwback to, like, these older movies where it doesn't have to end so damn bleak.
Yeah. Do you have an most intense?
Yes. So, most of the horror in this movie that I liked was visual gags. There
Yeah.
was one sequence, though, that I thought was genuinely really well done.
Don't say it's the gym lot. We have all the same moments, Jason. Look it up.
No!
Yes.
Ugh.
It's because there's not much this movie's giving us, bro.
I'll let I'll let you take this one. I just want to bring up one moment early in the scene and
Yeah.
just give a reason why I found this
Yeah.
the most intense because here we are again. It is an ongoing thing now where car scenes are just like the new scariest moments in these horror movies with
Mhm.
weapons, obsession, now this. But this one freaked me out more because of the way the sequence started. It preyed upon everyday fears when she's walking alone in the parking lot and you see two guys that are just like kind of chilling looking at her in the car. And you know that there's like an evil entity, so you're not really sure if they have anything to do with it, but it instantly unsettles you because it's a very primal fear that I'm sure women go through plenty of times and
Mhm.
sometimes I go through as well.
When I leave
Uh,
here, bro, and I gotta walk 2 feet to my car.
Yeah, and so it just starts off the scene in a very intense,
Mhm.
tense way, so they are able to get away with some other, horror tricks they do in the scene, but, yeah, you take this one since I talked about the other
Yeah, I
ones.
mean, it's really just the gym lot. There's a lot of, visuals with that. They play a lot with, like, the off-screen fear of, like, they're spinning the camera and all of a sudden you think something's gonna show up, and sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't, so it works for that.
Mhm.
Again, preying on fears, it lasts very long. It's a long sequence. She's turning, they take their time with it, it's quiet. Solid intensity from me there. I
Mhm.
think it was probably my favorite sequence in the movie.
Yeah, yeah, it was awesome. There
Um
was that one take of the camera, like, arching around
Yes.
her. I was like and that's what I'm talking about with this director where he has such incredible visual style. I love watching his
Yeah.
movies. I'd like to see it in a different kind of movie, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Let's get him a good script.
Get him a good script too. Yeah, yeah, because he doesn't I'm telling you, the Autopsy of Jane Doe is, in my opinion, by far his best
Yeah,
movie.
so good. That's
Get
like a
him
perfect movie.
that is like a perfect movie. It's
Yeah.
a great plot, very scary. Anyway, that's not what we're reviewing.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
So
yeah.
yeah, do you have any final thoughts on this?
Yeah, like I said, honestly, the more I talk about it, the more I kind of like it a little bit
Ooh.
more. I don't know. I had fun with it, and there were moments in this movie that I thought were great, even if there were a lot of generic stuff that, like you said, I think if this movie came out like 5 years ago, 6 years ago, I probably would like it even more. But you're right, horror has grown so much in the past few years, specifically like after the year of 2022 with Black Phone, Smile. So, yeah, I understand why it's not gonna be like a super loved and talked about movie, but I had a lot of fun with it.
Yeah. So what's your tattoo for it then?
I'm gonna get I wanna get well, I don't even know if this is possible, but I wanna get like a headlight effect and just have like big beaming headlights with just like a smile made out of the road
Oh, that's cool.
under it. Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
like that.
Yeah, it's cool. I don't know.
Yeah, I would just get an outline of the passenger.
Oh, okay. Ooh, the silhouette.
A little spooky silhouette.
I
Just
I called him Spookman in all my notes up until they said that they called him the passenger.
fair enough.
Yeah.
And your matchmaker, since you're so excited to talk about your matchmaker.
I'm always excited to talk about my
Oh,
matchmaker,
yes. No,
except for
me too.
last week.
Mine, I feel like is so good
What's yours?
because we had the same moments. Are we scared? Mine is
No, it's not gonna.
Green Room.
No.
Oh my god, that would be crazy. No, Green Room is an A24 movie from I don't know what year it came out.
Oh, Green Room. I'm thinking of Green Knight.
No,
Green Room
Green
with
Room.
Patrick Stewart
Yes.
as the
Yes.
Nazi. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes. That's the one. Atmospheric like this. It reminded me of this movie just in the way that like there is a lot of like foggy atmosphere.
hmm
I just think that that's like a more perfected like closed in claustrophobic kind of movie.
Yeah.
But again, the intensity is there. Uh not really too many people know about it. It's fascinating.
Yeah.
It's one of those ones where it's the same kind of smaller movie, but the execution, I think, for that movie is a lot
It's way more intense.
way more intense than this, and the horror is great. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna give it to Green Room. So I
Okay.
think if you liked Passenger, you'll definitely love Green Room.
I like it. Yeah, yeah. Rest in peace, Anton Yelchin.
Yes.
Yeah.
You breathing? Let him bleed.
Great pick. I like it. I think the more obvious one that people are gonna talk about when they watch this is The Hitcher. And I certainly do not think The Hitcher is better than this movie. So
Yeah.
I was like, what's another good road trip horror movie? And I can't believe this didn't immediately come to my head. But when I thought about it, I was like, oh, the best one, Duel. Steven Spielberg's first movie.
That's a good one.
It's a TV movie. I think it's a movie made for TV, but man, is that movie good! It had you if you haven't seen Duel, watch it and you'll see where all of his little like Jaws and Raiders of the Lost Ark tension moments come from. All from Duel, which is about this guy who pisses off a truck driver and all of a sudden starts to get aggressively followed by this truck for 90 minutes, 80 minutes, whatever.
Yeah. I love the Bob's Burgers episode that's based
Yes,
on that.
that's another reason why I love the movie so much. But yeah, it's a very similar kind of we're on a road trip and something is following us and trying to kill us. And The Hitcher, like I said, is definitely more similar. You have a couple and they're being followed by this unstoppable, scary force. But Duel is such a much better movie, so just watch Duel.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Solid. Well, that's all I got
Duel.
for Green Room.
Yeah, that's
And
all I got.
Sorry
for
Passenger.
Passenger. Yeah.
Right, that's all I got for Passenger.
Yeah.
But we got a finale to talk about, so
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our full episode on Spotify at X-Rated Films, where we get into all things spoiler-free, spoiler, our fun movie moments, our movie tattoo ideas, and Movie Matchmaker, all on Spotify. Thanks again for watching, and please subscribe.